Good evening. With the news, I am Neil Marks reporting from Port of Spain, Trinidad and Tobago, where heads of government of the Caribbean community, Caricom, are meeting for their annual meeting. Today, the heads of state returned to Chaguaramas, where the treaty was signed 40 years ago, establishing the community. Their message was clear. Despite the pessimism, Caricom remains relevant today, with President Donald Ramatar saying that the integration process is needed now, even more so than on July 4th, 1973. Come, my brother, let's walk together. Take my hand, brother and sister. Look around you, what do you see? Rainbow people, come, my brother, let's walk together. The cultures of the Caribbean blended beautifully today at the Chaguaramas Convention Center, where leaders of the Caribbean community gathered to salute the vision of the four founding fathers of the community. There should have been a reenactment of sorts of 40 years ago, when leaders of Guyana, Jamaica, Barbados and Guyana signed the treaty establishing Caricom. President Donald Ramatar did what Forbes Burnham did back in 1973 for Guyana. But while he saluted the courage and foresight of the original founding fathers, he stayed away from mentioning Burnham's name, something that the other prime ministers did not shy away from. In fact, at the opening ceremony Wednesday evening, the Prime Minister of Barbados, Frondell Stewart, quoted Burnham on the need for the integration of the countries of the region.
Forbes Burnham spoke in terms that have lost none of their relevance and freshness 40 years later. I quote, "The unity I dream of, which my people in Guyana dream of, is the unity of the peoples as distinct from the governments of the region," unquote.
While President Ramatar did not call Burnham's name, he referred to Burnham's political rival, Dr. Cheddi Jagan, the founder of the ruling PPP, and what Jagan saw as important to the region.
As the late president of our country, Cheddi Jagan, said in October of 1992 at a special session of Caribbean heads of government, and I quote, "We have to work as a collective and consult our respective constituencies so that we march not ahead or behind, but together with our people," unquote. And I submit that our people want us to march together. Those sentiments are even more relevant today.
Today, President Ramatar said that 40 years ago the region was just emerging from colonialism, and the then leaders recognized that to survive and prosper they needed to integrate. He said that even though much has changed and there has been some progress, the need for integration is greater now.
The financial and economic crises that began in Europe and North America have impacted heavily on our region, and clearly the need for us to have greater integration has become more urgent.
While President Ramatar said the 40th anniversary is a cause for celebration, it is also one for reflection, for leaders to consider if they have been effective enough, whether the peoples of the region had benefited fully from the process.
We must never forget that our people must see and feel the benefits of integration.
The National School of Dance, Nitragit and the Kurokwa singers showcase a slice of Guyanese culture in song and dance, as President Ramatar reaffirmed Guyana's commitment to Caricom. The Prime Minister of Barbados said that the four founding leaders of Caricom had one simple mission, and that was to bring the region and its people more closely together. He said he needed no persuasion that 40 years after the signing of the Treaty of Chaguaramas, the region is more closely united than any other time in the history of the Caribbean.
But I do not think that as a region we have anything to be ashamed about. We have shown the world that we can come together, work together, and try to realize the dreams and aspirations of the people of this region.
On Friday, Caribbean leaders get into the real discussions, and one of the main agenda items is reforming Caricom to make sure it stays relevant.